What they're asking for is they do want 2 pillows per cook. I've already discussed this with some of the shock callers. We feel like that's a bit much until I hit level 5, which I am 35% of the way through level 4. Once I'm level 5, we're guaranteed 5 pillows with a chance of 6 per cook. And then that way we can give up the 2 then. So I'm going to ask Marty if it's okay that we give them 1 pillow per cook. And then when I hit level 5, that's when we give them the 2 pillows per cook. And we don't actually have to pay the $50,000 a week for the key. It would be something that I can only get. So I would be given access to the warehouse where it's stored. And then we would use it as a crew. And that's that. And that just allows them a little bit more pillows, more activity with their lab. We do have to put up $1 million for collateral. So that'll come out of the gang funds. And say in 2 weeks, 2 months, a month, 3 months, 2 days down the road, we don't like it, we don't want to do it, they'll just give the $1 million back, and we no longer have access to the lab. So that's...
And here's another thing as well. He wouldn't release the information, but I believe Zuck has access to a bench.
Zuck called me yesterday and told me that he can get us thermite, anything that we really need.
Today.
Yeah.
And I already said to him, if we were to buy in bulk for the thermite, would he do 5 or 5.5 rather than 6? And he said he'd do 5.5. And to keep the relationship even sweeter with GG, I would suggest that we buy our thermite now through Zuck and GG.
Yeah, that works. So yeah, Sly, that's what we've been working on. We haven't done anything because they didn't want us at war when we did this deal, for obvious reasons. So now that we're out of war, I was going to have a conversation with Marty and just kind of touch base with him, make sure the deal is still on the table, and kind of go from there. The reason why we want to do this, we don't necessarily need the meth, just to be frank. But
build connection.
Correct. That's really what this is all about. It gets me to level 5. Once I'm level 5, I can have somebody else cook, but as long as I'm there, like I'm the one that gets the key and stuff, so we can kind of swap around. We'll have 100% purity easily. It'll give us something to do as a crew twice a day, minimal. And we have the numbers for it during EU. And like you said, the biggest thing is the connections. It's just building that relationship with GG. If somebody fucks with the lab, they're fucking with GG's lab. And if somebody fucks with their lab, even when we're not around, they're fucking with our lab. Because we have vested interest. So it's just a win-win, I think, for us overall. And there's no quota. So they're not like, oh, you have to cook this many times a week and we need this many pillows. If shit's hot, we don't feel like it, we don't use it. There's nothing being held over our heads. So it's in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. And let's be real, GG is the type of group that are, from what I gather, and I could be completely off basis from this, but I don't think I am, judging how they're offering this, is I don't think they're that focused of a group. As in, I think their attention gets taken to whatever Apple is dangling, wherever. Mm-hmm. And I don't think their commitment to the lab is, well, I know this for a fact because I've talked to them, but they probably expected to be using this a lot more, a lot more. They spent a lot of money for this lab, and it seems as though it's just not being used. And the other thing that makes me excited about that is, say a month, 2 months down the road, they might just be over this whole lab shit. And as people that already use the lab on a regular basis with them, we're going to be first in line to get this key for ownership for ourselves. And or they may say, you know what, you guys can just use it as much as you want. Just give us a little bit more meth, supply us with a run a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the options will come down the road because I feel like the next big thing that comes through, GG will divert their attention to that, and then they'll just make sure that we're doing okay with the lab, et cetera, et cetera. And that's no disrespect to them. They're a big group with a lot of people. They're very powerful. You know, it isn't their lifeblood like it would be for us. Fortunately for us, we now have the oil rig, so it really isn't our lifeblood either. Yeah. I would have been a lot more excited about this like a month ago. I'd have been like, oh my, I'd have been salivating. But now it's just like, oh, okay, this is just cool. I like hanging out with GG. I want to be helpful to them. They're extending an olive branch to us, and I say we jump on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with it. Gives us something more to do. So
yeah,
but we wouldn't be able to openly bring hangarounds there.
Correct. That's one thing they did not want, is they did not want hangarounds to know about the lab and where it is. And I told them we only have 2 hangarounds right now anyway, so I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. But what we do is we would have to take trusted members. Obviously, that's everybody. I even trust our hangarounds. It's just, you know, GG operate a little bit differently, and I respect that. It's their key. So we would take six of us, whether it's myself and shot callers or blooded in members, and we would have like basically say even if it's a prospect, I don't really care, but it's the hangarounds I do care about. And if it's prospects and whatnot, we can just have them be lookouts. You know what I mean, like outside type shit. But we'll worry about that when the time comes. I got to get the deal settled and situated, and then we got to have one big group meeting, because as of right now, nobody in the gang knows about this outside of shot callers. And it needs to stay that way until the deal happens, because if the deal doesn't happen, then I don't want anybody in the group to even know that GG has a lab. Out of respect to them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Understandable.
because it's not our key,
On
right?
The